I'm Daryl Atkinson. We're at the Forward Justice Action Network Conference. We're in the South. We got people from all southern states, and we're about to figure this thing out.
Introduce our MC for our 2.5 days, Reverend Erica Williams, who will send y'all moving us through our day. Thank you. Trying to get up for yourselves this morning. Good morning!
Are beyond what I can tolerate. I need to hold on because it's saying keep my eyes on the prize. You see what I'm saying? So when I say hold on, I'm going to give it to you. And don't leave me out here by myself. Give it back to me. I should hear it in the sound. You should feel different. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we're going to charge each other. Okay, so here we go. Well, the one thing that we did wrong, stayed in the wilderness a day too long. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, why don't you hold on? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, we need to rehearse it. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. No. Hey. You know you need a
My name's Gary Wainwright. One of the reasons I came is I've been a long time supporter of Doris Henderson, but the real reason I'm here is because we need to find that strength. We need to find a unity, because the battle for civil rights is never over in this country, and we've got to be ready for 2024, or we're all going to go back to hell.
Good morning. My name is John Naheed. I'm here with People Advocacy Institute in Stonewall, Jackson, and the Portland campaign. This is my Mississippi people man. Jackson, Mississippi. So, we know civil rights all too well. We still fighting every day now. And being from Mississippi. So, I know I can speak for my team, and we all have the same collective mind. So, we're here to make connections throughout the United States, and that's the only way we're going to change anything. We got to get these young people to understand that voting is very important, because a lot of people think they can't vote. A lot of people fellas think they can't vote.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's our job as being the ones to educate each other and spread the love, to show the love to the younger generation.
Because I see power inside the house. I see power right here. Regardless of how much the light done dimmed, you have the power. We have the power as a people, together, collectively, moving forward, moving forward and not one step back. And we got to keep on going. And regardless of how hard it gets, it couldn't get no harder for me than it got in 38 years I spent inside.
That's right.
Because I want to come home like that. Grace, God, to God be the glory. They sent the paper for me to be terminated parole, case closed, and I'm still paying supervision fee. I'm still paying it today.
That's all right.
I want my voting rights back. That's what I'm doing.
Board, I am, as Reverend Erica said, I am raised in Alabama, born in Virginia, spent my summers in Georgia, and then got into this work through Kentucky and North Carolina. So I am Southern through and through, and just to get my little spiel, I came back to this because I also needed that connection with you all who are in the South doing this work. And I, as an adult, have to fall back in love with the South, while understanding the power that we all have once we're fired up and once we're determined. So I'm going to go ahead and bounce this Marcus, and then we'll talk about what this next thing is going to be. You all
It's tough being the only thing between us and lunch. My name is Marcus Bass. I want to say good morning, everybody. From North Carolina, he and pronouns, with an organization called North Carolina Black Alliance. We stand united for justice, and every single one of you here in various organizations. We are going to go through and also, how many of you have been to voting rights convenings outside of the South?
This work is critical. I think this work is is critical, and I don't think so just because of like symbolic gestures or because it's the right thing to say since criminalization is sexy right now or whatever. I think it's really important because I think if we don't get this right, then we miss the cornerstone for all of the other social movements that it's intersecting with right now.
Dr. Barber, a person that all of us are familiar with, and hopefully I think his spirit is in every corner of this convening. And hopefully we'll get a chance to hear more from leaders that have been close to him. About 15 years ago, we were in a room right outside of the Durham Bulls athletic facility in the basement. And we were thinking about at the time the North Carolina General Assembly legislature had flipped and folks were trying to figure out how do we turn it back, and everybody had been talking for about 2 or 3 hours. We need to register these folks, we need to do all this education. Dr. Barber stood up and said, who in here is willing to die?
To registration forms, and one of the other questions y'all had is, what is the work that's already happening in the South that we need to amplify and support? So what are y'all working on that this group of folks could support? So I'll start with you, Ash.
I mean, what ain't happening? I mean, honestly, like, I don't mean to be facetious. I think that the South is the country under a microscope, right? It literally, you name the front line, it's right here, right? It's the largest geographic region in the United States, y'all. Ain't no bigger place than the South.
Lately I've been feeling like it's my intuition that's been giving me victories. Hey, lately I've been feeling like it's my intuition that's been solving these mysteries. Hey, lately I've been feeling like it's my intuition that's been clearing my blurred visions. Hey, lately I've been feeling like lately.
Two more of my favorite people. So I've got Shamika Parrish-Wright, who is the state director for Vocal Kentucky, and Shamika will tell us a little bit more about Vocal Kentucky. And we have Sheena Mead, who is the executive director of the Clean Slate Initiative. And they have both run for office, so they also bring that perspective as Black women who have stepped out there and said, I'm gonna do it, right? And so we'll hear a little bit from them about that. So I wanted to start with a question to both of them around what is it that Black women are doing right now to build political power in the South? So I'll start with Shamika on that question, because I saw she didn't do that.
You know what? Is this on?
I don't know if it's on or not. But the people on Zoom said it sounds better when we don't have the mics anyway.
Oh, I was going to say I can project.
But it sounds good.
Is this better?
Yes.
All right. Good morning. I was late joining our group because I had to do an interview about, we had 9 jail deaths in a matter of months in our local Kentucky jails. I previously worked for the Bail Project, and so even with my new role with Vocal Kentucky, it's important to me because one death is too many, and when people are in charge of our bodies, and I'll put that in air quotes, it's important that we get the human rights and the dignity that we deserve, no matter what station of life we're presented with. With that said, I am a child of an incarcerated parent. My father spent 40 of his 56 years on this earth, in and out of jail. I'm his only child. I lost him in 2015. Nothing I do is without Black men. You know, we mentioned Color Purple, and I like to think of it as, you know, I love me some Harpo, but I love me too. And what I do is for our community. What I do is for my son. It's professional, it's personal, it's community. And so, my brothers, when you hear us talk about Black women and empowering each other and lifting it up and building political power, for me, that's not without you. I told Ashley and Attica yesterday, being at this conference, seeing all the Black men speaking and in leadership was so moving for me. It was beautiful to see leading and facilitating. And I don't know if it's because we're deeper in the South, but when I go to conferences and convenings and planning meetings, there's a lacking of Black men that are engaged. And I know it's not because they don't want to be there. they're not invited to the space all the time, just like black women. But when I come into any space, I do a black check. I see how many black women are in there. I see how many black men are there. And it tells me about the intentionality of the people who have brought us together.
I would say growing up, the narrative of a black woman can sometimes be a little negative. You hear like aggressive black women, angry black women, so I try to steer away from that narrative and create what now we're living in our soft season. A lot of people are saying on social media, but that's something that I try to embrace from the beginning. I wanted to steer away from showcasing people one version of maybe like I watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, but that's not who we are as a community. It's a part of our community, but there's so much more to our community than that narrative. So I tried to create my own narrative of being the soft woman, but growing up sometimes that can be overlooked as, well, she doesn't have a voice, she's not strong, she's soft. But I think that in my journey of discovering who I am, just knowing that there is strength in being soft, there's strength in silence, but there's also strength in presence. So that's just something that I wanted to create and represent.
When did you become aware of the ways that black women were perceived and then actively say, I want to create something different for myself?
I would say really in middle school. So I went to a school called Southern Guilford Middle School, and it was very, kind of segregated. You had the country white people, and then you had the city black people. And I was on the cheerleading team, and there was 22 girls, and I would say about 8 out of the 22 were black. But because of how I was as a person, pronouncing your INGs, you would get to know people, but they would also say that like, oh, you're a white girl in a black girl's body, or an Oreo. And in middle school, you don't know really what that is, but it was still an awareness that certain people won't accept you for being who you are, but you just have to present yourself as who you are truly and be authentic to that. I would say my first awakening was in middle school, and just having these like labels being thrown at me, but then also still not being accepted by other people. It's like if I brought you home with me, my parents would shoot me because you're a black woman. So hearing that at like 11, 12